My name is Marina, and for a long time I thought that being understanding made me a strong woman. Only later did I understand that, in the hand of a narcissist, my kindness became ammunition. He didn't yell at me. He didn't curse me or break things. On the contrary, the narcissist always seemed so calm, so rational, that when I started to doubt something, he was ready to say that I was too sensitive, that I needed to relax, and I believed it, because he was good with words, good at making me feel guilty even when I was being kind. In the beginning, he said that I was everything he ever wanted, that he admired my empathy, my way of listening, of caring. He said he had never met someone so patient. I smiled at that. I thought it was beautiful. I thought, finally someone sees who I really am. But little by little, this became a charge. I began to notice that whenever he did something wrong, he expected me to understand, that I didn't react, that I apologize quick, without drama. When I was sad about something, he would say, "But aren't you that evolved person? Understanding?" And that sentence alone was enough to shut me up. I started to be used against myself. The narcissist tested my limits, and when I tried to impose one, he threw my own character in my face. "You're so nice to others. Why are you being so me?" And then I gave in. He always gave in, because I didn't want to be unfair. Because I thought that this was what to love was all about. Understanding, accepting, revealing. I remember one time he kept me waiting for hours in a restaurant. He said he missed the time. When he arrived, he didn't even apologize. I was hurt, but I didn't want to ruin the night. I tried to talk. He sighed deeply, leaned his elbows on the table and said, "You take everything personally. I thought you were different." That phrase crossed me, because he knew that I had always fought the fear of being too intense. I knew I'd heard that from other people before, and I used that to silence me. I swallowed my tears right there. I smiled, pretended everything was fine, and I paid the bill. The narcissist manipulated me with compliments and small emotional threats. When I said something hurt me, he praised my maturity, but made it clear that he was disappointed by my reaction, as if my suffering was a character flaw. Over time, I even doubted my intentions. I began to think that maybe I was really being too harsh, that maybe he was right, that I was impatient, intolerant, and the cruelest thing, he never raised his voice. He was always calm, cool, collected. The narcissist made it seem like I was the one out of control. There was a day that marked me a lot. We were arguing because he had been missing for 2 days. No message, no warning. When he returned, he said he was with friends and that he forgot his cell phone. I was worried, distressed, and he told me, "You need to work on your insecurity. I like freedom, and you, with that beautiful heart you have, should understand me." And I understood. I apologized. Again, I hugged him for fear of losing, as if I was the wrong one for having felt his absence, as if my pain was a sign of imbalance and not of love. The goodness he said he loved in me became a trap. Every time I forgave, he tested more. Every time I gave in, he stretched the rope, and I prided myself on being understanding, until I realized that he only continued because he knew I wouldn't leave. That's it. He used it against me every day. He said, "You are different from the others. You're not the type to abandon when the going gets tough." And I, foolish, thought that was a compliment. But it was just the most disguised way to keep me imprisoned. The narcissist knew my weaknesses. I knew I was afraid of being seen as someone who gives up. I knew that I prided myself on being loyal, patient, and always trying one more time. And he wore it as a chain. It made me believe that giving in was a virtue, that giving in was a sign of true love. And so I faded away, one gesture at a time. He lied. And when I found out, he would look me in the eye and say, "Do you want to fight, or do you want to build a life with me?" As if complaining about the pain would destroy the relationship. As if demanding respect were synonymous with emotional instability. And I was silent. He swallowed everything. Again. One night, I found messages on his cell phone. Nothing explicit, but enough to know that there was something there. When I asked, he gave a short laugh and said, "Are you so sensitive? Really going to want to torture yourself because of this?" And then, as if it were a favor, he added, "I trusted you to keep my cell phone nearby. I would never do that to you." I apologized. I apologized for reading it, for having doubted, because he was in doubt. Me, the betrayed, becoming the villain, and he, the manipulator, coming out as a victim of my insecurity. Over time, I stopped telling him things, not because I didn't trust him, but because he used everything against me and threw everything in my face. When I spoke of a past trauma, he listened with apparent affection. But weeks later, when I questioned some of his behavior, he said, "This is a reflection of your history, Marina. You project things onto me." And there, once again, my pain was invalidated. Once again, my suffering was treated as an exaggeration. There was an afternoon when I came home from work, tired, discouraged, wanting to be held. I said that the day had been heavy, that I needed a hug. He didn't say anything. He went to the kitchen, got a glass of water, and replied, "You need to stop depending so much on others emotionally. That exhausts anyone." I cried in the bathroom in silence. I wondered if I was really a burden, if my goodness was, in fact, lack in disguise. The narcissist made me believe that I was too much, too sensitive, too attentive, too present. But all this, which was once loved by him, was now transformed into a reason for guilt. And then he would come back, with flowers, with a dinner, with a compliment. "You are the strongest woman I know." And I smiled. I clung to it, because after bending so much, being called strong was almost a form of survival. I needed to believe that all of this had some value, that all that was not in vain. But the truth is that I was tired, and worse, she was alone with guilt, with doubt, with the constant fear of making mistakes. The narcissist didn't stop me from leaving the house. He kept me from getting out of myself. I held on to the promise that my goodness would be recognized. If I could hold on just a little longer, and I could handle it, until I didn't know who it was anymore. One day I looked in the mirror and saw an exhausted woman. The sunken eyes, the smile faded, the shoulders hunched like someone who carries the weight of the world, or the weight of loving someone who only knows how to suck. The Marina of before, the one who smiled easily, who was moved by listening to stories of strangers, who made affectionate notes and prepared surprises without scheduled dates, she was gone, and no one noticed. Me neither, because the narcissist didn't take me out at once. He tore me apart into pieces, and every piece I lost, he called it one less exaggeration, one less drama. Finally, you're learning to be a real woman. He didn't want my essence. He wanted my surrender. There was a day when I had the flu, with a fever, and he came late from the street, ignored my state, threw himself on the couch and said, "You get soft for any little thing." I was dizzy, with chills, but I got up to prepare dinner. He didn't even look. He didn't even ask how I was. And, in the middle of the meal, she still blurted out, "You were more lively before. Now it seems that everything affects you," as if he wasn't the storm that drained my energy. But even so, I still tried to be better. He still sought to be that special woman, that exception that would change him. After all, he always said, "You're different. Don't do as others do." The others always gave up on me, and I, foolish, wanted to be the one who would stay. I wanted to be living proof that love can heal, but love is not a cure when the other does not want to be treated. The narcissist began to test how far I went. Once he invented that he was going to spend the weekend with friends. I found out later that I was with another woman. When I confronted him, he looked at me calmly and said, "You are interpreting things." I warned him that I needed space. "Is that what you call betrayal?" And then he added, "You've always been so mature. Why are you so jealous now?" And again, I apologized. Gradually, I accepted crumbs as if they were banquets. A dry "thank you" made me emotional. An unexpected caress made me forget days of coldness. And when he said, "I love you," even without looking into my eyes, I felt an unhealthy relief, like someone who finally gets air after almost drowning. But that's what he did. I drowned on purpose. And then he threw a buoy just for me to keep swimming towards him. People said he was calm, polite, restrained. No one knew what an emotional prison it was to live with someone who used my every gesture as a tool of control. Because the narcissist never yelled at me, never pushed me, never slammed the door. But every time I said something hurt me, he would reply, "You have a drama mania." And this drama was silencing my soul. Until one day, my sister looked me in the eyes and said, "Marina, you're disappearing." It was like a slap, because it was true. I didn't tell anyone else. He did not share my pains, nor my joys. I lived in a relationship where only one mattered, where I needed to understand everything, forgive everything, accept everything, because otherwise, I was the wrong one. And for the first time, in that simple sentence of my sister's, I saw myself from the outside. I saw Marina who forgave veiled betrayals, who cooked sick, who apologized for having feelings, who confused patience with abandonment of herself. And that's when I realized my kindness was never the problem. The problem was who used it as a weapon. From that day on, something in me began to change. It was not yet courage. It was not yet strength. It was just tiredness. A tiredness so deep-rooted, that I could no longer pretend that everything was fine. I stopped trying to be understanding. Not because I stopped being who I was, but because I understood that my empathy didn't have to be a bargaining chip. The narcissist didn't deserve the best I had, because he didn't want love. He wanted submission. He wanted control. I wanted to make sure that no matter how much he made a mistake, I would still be there, offering affection in exchange for contempt. I started to keep silence to myself. He talked, justified, manipulated, and I just listened. For the first time, without trying to hit, without trying to convince. The narcissist began to feel strange. He felt my distancing. He felt that something was different. And that's when he started to change tactics. He started to show himself worried. He said that I was distant, that I was cold, that she was no longer the same woman he fell in love with. And he was right. I wasn't anymore. Because the woman he fell in love with was someone who believed that love endured everything, that it revealed veiled offenses, that he accepted the blame for what he did not cause. The new Marina. I was beginning to understand that I deserved more. I remember the first no that came out of my mouth. He wanted to hang out with friends on our anniversary. He said it was any date, that he could celebrate later. And I, for the first time, said, "No, I'm going to go out on my own." His expression froze. He tried to reverse it with charm, then with sarcasm. And when he saw that I didn't give in, he came with the old emotional blackmail. "You're being ungrateful. Have you forgotten everything I have done for you?" But at that moment, I already knew. Everything he did for me had a price. There was a charge. He had a built-in emotional debt. From then on, his silences returned, like a last blow. But now, I didn't bow anymore. Each time the narcissist ignored me, I was reminded of the woman I was before him, and that gave me strength. I didn't beg for attention anymore. He no longer apologized for feeling. I just went about my day. And this indifference, it hurt him more than any argument. He tried to go back. He tried to create bonds with promises. He spoke of therapy. He talked about changing. He said he admired me for being so resilient, but I didn't want to be admired anymore for putting up with what no one should put up with. I didn't want to be strong anymore. I just wanted peace. And then, one day, I did what he least expected. I left without fighting. No letter, no speech, no tears. I just left the keys on the table, collected the little that was still mine, and left. And the most curious? The narcissist didn't go after it. Not because he didn't care, but because he lost control. And when a narcissist loses control, he loses interest. Today, I understand that my kindness was not weakness. She was just in the wrong place. And if I could say something to any woman who is living this, it would be, beware of those who praise your patience too much. They will always test how much you can stand being hurt and keep smiling. And I don't smile at the pain anymore. Today, I smile at myself. And that's all he never managed to destroy. It didn't happen overnight. My recovery had no background music or instant happy ending. There were days of confusion, weeks of mental relapses, moments when I almost texted, because the emotional addiction that the narcissist creates does not end with a goodbye. It plants roots. He hides in the good memories, in the promises made in a low voice, in the times when he made me laugh right after hurting me. But I was firm. For the first time, stand firm with me. I blocked contacts. I deleted photos. I forced myself to remember the whole thing. Not just the beautiful gestures, but the times I cried with the bathroom door locked, the phrases that made me doubt my sanity, the manipulations so subtle that they almost made me apologize for being human. I started therapy. I heard myself. I looked at myself. I rediscovered the woman who still lived in me, the one who had always been generous, sweet, attentive, but who now knew the limit between kindness and self-abandonment. The silence he used to control me finally became my healing space. I learned to love the sound of my own voice back, trusting my instincts, to believe that feeling is not weakness, that caring is not a mistake, that being good is not an invitation to be explored. The narcissist followed, clear, with another woman, another cycle, another mask. And for a while, it hurt me, because we want to believe that after us, they change. But narcissists don't change. They just adapt control to the next victim. And me, I changed. Today, I do not accept less than full presence. I don't settle for emotional halves. I no longer try to be the exception for someone who only knows how to suck. I am enough. I hear myself. I hug myself. Because I didn't need anyone to get out of that emotional captivity. It was me, in pain, afraid. But I went. And every time doubt tries to come back, I remember the phrase that saved me. My kindness is a gift, but it is no longer a weapon in the hands of those who do not know what love is. And that's why, even with all the scars, I walk light. Because now, I walk alone, and free. Free, that word that once seemed so far away, now lives in me. Not as a cry for independence, but as a whisper back home. Because deep down, I never had to run away from him. I just needed to come back to myself. In the first months after the separation, everything was strange. The silence of the house scared me. Not that silence that the narcissist imposed, full of tension and punishment, but the real silence. The one who did not come with a threat, the silence of peace. I walked slowly through the rooms, as if entering a sacred place. I was afraid, yes, but it was a different fear, the fear of rebuilding. I started doing simple things. Things he said were silly, useless. I started painting again, even without talent. I started cooking just for me, with loud music. I laughed alone with films that he previously criticized. I went to the market, talked to strangers, cried listening to a lady tell about her daughter. And I didn't feel ashamed to be sensitive. I didn't have to justify myself. I regained my faith, my time, my name, my small desires. And in each of these things, a layer of it was unraveling inside me. Not that he will disappear. Narcissists leave marks. But the pain was losing space, and I was occupying everything again. There was a day when I dreamed that I was back with him. In the dream, he smiled, praised me, said that he had changed. I believed it. I saw myself again trying to please, trying to get it right. But then, in the middle of the dream, he turned his face, and he was silent. And that was when I, in the dream itself, said, "Not again." I woke up with my heart racing, but not out of fear, of relief, because even in my nightmares now, I choose to leave. I don't expect them to understand my pain anymore, nor that they validate my story. I lived. I know what I felt. And if I'm here today saying this, it's because I survived something that no one saw, because I survived a kind of violence that doesn't leave a purple on my arm, but tears inside. Today's Marina is not the same as before, and that's a good thing. Today I know my limits, my value, my peace. I don't accept love anymore that comes with silence as punishment, nor kindness that is used as an excuse for abuse, nor promises that blame me for feeling. And if I ever love again, let it be on an equal footing, because now, the woman who offered everything to be loved, he learned that true love begins where fear ends. And I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore, because for the first time, I chose myself. This may seem simple to someone who has never lived under the icy gaze of a narcissist, but for me, it was the hardest decision of my life. Saying enough was not a scream. It was a whisper inside the chest, repeated several times in silence until it gained enough strength to become an attitude. A lot of people still ask, but he wasn't aggressive, right? Never hit you? As if the fact that there was no physical violence made everything bearable, acceptable, small. But no one understands what it is like to live under daily manipulation, emotional blackmail, silences disguised as maturity, praise followed by demands. The narcissist destroyed my self-esteem with a smile on his face. And for a long time, I thought the problem was me. Today I know it wasn't. The truth is that I just wanted to be loved without having to pay with my silence, my mental health, my identity. I just wanted my kindness to be welcomed, not exploited. That my empathy was reciprocity, not submission. But he never wanted that. He wanted a moldable woman, a mirror that reflected everything he wanted to see, and erased everything he couldn't control. I'm not going to romanticize my departure. It was painful. It was sweaty. I almost went back more than once. With every message from him, with every good memory, with every subtle attempt to reappear with the old sweet voice, my heart wavered. But every time I thought about going back, I asked myself, how many versions of myself do I still need to let go of to fit into this relationship? And the answer was, none. Because the woman he wanted, it wasn't me. The Marina that exists today is not perfect. There are days when it still hurts. It has triggers. There are memories that come back in silence. But now, I have a voice. I have self-love. I have limits. And above all, I am sure that no one can take me away. What the narcissist tried to destroy in me, I rebuilt with every piece he discarded, alone, in my time, in my space. And if you are listening to this now, living this same pain, thinking that your kindness is weakness, that your empathy is exaggerated, that your love is always too much, no, you are not wrong for loving. But maybe you're trying to love someone who doesn't know what love is. And maybe, like me, it's time to stop bowing and start getting up, because no one deserves to have their light used as a weapon against themselves. I learned this the hard way, but I learned. I learned in pain. I learned quietly. I learned by being turned into a villain every time I tried to put a limit. But I learned, and I'll never forget it. What revolts me the most today is not only what he did to me, it's how much he made me think it was love, how he took my gestures full of affection and turned against me, how he said I was special, understanding, different, only to later use that as a justification to keep me silent, to make me endure the unbearable. For so long, my kindness was used as blackmail, as if truly loving was going to endure everything, as if empathy meant swallowing one's own pain, as if being a good woman was accepting crumbs. But I'm not that woman anymore. Today's woman is not afraid of being called difficult, sensitive, exaggerated, because everything that the narcissist used to diminish me, I regained as strength. My sensitivity became a shield. My empathy became a filter. My love became a choice, and no longer a desperate attempt to be seen. I didn't come out stronger. I came out conscious, and this awareness changed everything. Today, I look back without anger, but with clarity, because I understand that the narcissist never loved the woman I was. He loved the control he had over her. She loved how much I bent over, how much I gave in, how much I kept quiet to keep something that was never reciprocated. But it's over. The time when my kindness was currency is over, in which my silence was an answer, when my love was punishment. Now, I love myself with the same intensity that I once begged to be loved. And that's the difference. Because I'm no longer waiting for someone to see me. I'm seeing myself, whole, for the first time. And if there's something I carry, after all this, it's this certainty. When love is real, it doesn't require you to erase yourself to fit in. It lights up along with you. The narcissist tried to turn off my light. He tried to mold me until I lost myself. But I came back. With every piece recovered, with every wound exposed, with every truth that today I have the courage to say out loud. And this is the story that no one can silence. Because now, who chooses silence? It's me. And I choose only when he comes with peace. I choose the silence that welcomes me, not the one that punishes me. The silence that gives me space, not the one that erases me. Because today, everything I do, it's for me. For a long time, my greatest anguish was hearing the phrase, "But he looked so good." Yes, he looked like it. Narcissists are masters at this, at seeming, in smiling, in showing yourself calm while, inside, they dismantle you with subtle phrases, with calculated contempt, with the most silent manipulation that exists. He never forbade me to go out, but he looked at me coldly when I said I was going. He never said, "Don't wear that outfit," but he complimented me less when I was well dressed. He never said, "You're stupid," but repeated that I was too emotional, never understood anything, spoiled good times with my sensitivity, and I, in an effort to keep everything standing, adapted, decreased. He pruned what he felt. It reduced my intensity, until I became a pale version of the woman I was. But what he didn't expect is that, even fragmented, one day I would start to pick up the pieces, that one day I would listen to myself more than I listened to him, that I would stop justifying abuses with beautiful words. Took, hurt, but it happened. Today, when I think of him, I don't miss him anymore. I feel distance, like someone who remembers a place that was once home, but now understands that it was just a dark room, with no window, no exit, no air. Today, I have my space, my time, my decisions. I no longer need to ask permission to exist. I don't even need approval to be who I am. I look in the mirror and see someone who has gone through hell in silence, but he came back with his own voice. I don't know if he regrets it. Narcissists don't regret it. They lose control, and when they lose, they look for another source, another goodness to explore, another heart to manipulate. I just hope that wherever he is, the next woman has the strength to leave before I got out. And if she's listening right now, let her know. You're not crazy. You're not exaggerating. You're not too difficult. You're just being used. And if my story serves to turn on a light, where before there was only confusion, then it was all worth it. Because no one should have their empathy turned into a weapon. No one should pay the price of love with their own soul. I left late, but I came out alive, and I never come back. Because now I understand. Being good is not putting up with the unacceptable. It's knowing when to go, and going for self-love. Going for self-love is not selfish. It's courage. It's saying to yourself, I deserve more than this cycle that bleeds me in silence. And that's what I did. I closed the door not only on the house where I lived with the narcissist, I closed the door inside me, the one that let him come back with beautiful words, the one who still hoped that one day he would recognize everything he did, because he will never recognize it. And I don't need that anymore to move on. Today, my life is different. Simpler, lighter, without fear of waking up and being punished for existing, without molding myself at every step, without having to explain myself for feeling too much. I don't have to prove my worth to anyone, because I already understood that he was always here, in me. I allow myself to start over slowly. There are still days when I feel the weight of history, in which a smell, a song, a phrase take me back to that time when I accepted the minimum with a forced smile. But the difference is that now I know how to come back to myself. I don't abandon myself anymore. And in this process, I rediscovered what love is. Real love. Love that does not require sacrifice of identity. Love that does not hurt, does not silence, does not distort. Self-esteem. He tried to convince me that to be good was to accept everything. Today, I know that being good is setting limits, that to love is not to endure abuse. That empathy doesn't mean swallowing one's own pain just to keep someone close. The narcissist used me. He manipulated me. It broke me, but it didn't destroy me. And this is the ending that no one expected, because he thought I was going to beg, that I was going to come back, that I wouldn't know how to live without him. And here I am, more alive than ever, whole, silent, yes, but not like before. Now my silence is peace, it's strength, it is freedom.